Talk a little NBA, a little bit about this Wizards-Sixers matchup. Candace Buckner from the Washington Post does an excellent job of covering the NBA, the Washington Wizards. And she joins us now here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline on a Wednesday where the 8th-seeded Wizards are down 1-0. And Candace, I know this has been a very odd season, as you kind of chronicled over at the Washington Post earlier this week about man, what a weird regular season that is. And now it's got to be bizarro world that they played half the 75, 80% of the year in front of nobody. And now you're in a playoff game. And I think you were in Philly the other night and you got this full building and things going nuts. It's got to be like a bizarro world for some of these players.
Yeah, especially the ones who are new to this. They have a couple newbies to the playoffs in their starting rotation, and Alex Lynn and Rui Hachimura. But as our Wizards beat reporter at the Post, Ava Wallace, has chronicled, they've gone from being 15 games under 500 to essentially being, the feel-good story of the NBA. Of course, doing all that stuff as all 30 teams have done pretty much in front of empty arenas. But this team showed a lot of resiliency, but some of that, all of that is going to be tested throughout the series.
Yeah, now, the story that you wrote earlier this week for the Post, which was about how the players kind of had like this lonely season, and I thought it was very interesting. Like, we still think like, they're playing, they're traveling, they must be living their life, but it doesn't seem that was the case for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I was surprised. The NBA was as strict and consistent with their COVID protocols as any private entity in America, I would say. And I was just surprised at how far things went, to the point that, typically teams, what's regular, a team would take maybe 1 or 2 buses to a shoot around the morning of the game. Now they're taking 4 buses because everything has to be spaced out. Guys are sitting next to empty chairs. And even for the Wizards, which I'm sure is something that every NBA team had to do, they had separate spaces, like 2 different locker rooms, while they're preparing for the game, because you could not jam 15 guys into a locker room, which is mind-blowing because this is a team sport. You have to trust and build camaraderie with your teammate, hopefully to be successful, and none of these teams really got that.
Candace Buckner, read her story over at the Washington Post. You also wrote about Joel Embiid, and about yesterday we talked to Michael Lee about how he has really matured and developed. Right. And you wrote about how he has really tormented this Wizards team. And when we look at this game tonight, he played 10 minutes in the first half and still scored 30. You wonder if that Washington team has any answer for him in this series.
We're going to have to see it tonight, because if you're in foul trouble and you still go for 30 and you still get 13 free throws, that means that you're not being defended. And just imagine what Embiid can do when he's not in foul trouble. Their biggest thing is they tried to double team him. Sometimes they even tried to triple team him, and it didn't work out. As Rui Hachimura, one of the playoff newbies, said, they did it. They double teamed it, quote, half-ass. So how about some full throttle aggression? And if they are going to foul these guys, earn it. Show a little more physicality. You'll definitely need that against Joel Embiid.
Well, one guy you could foul is Ben Simmons, and I'm just interested to hear, kind of an outsider's take on him, because here he's polarizing. He's either the worst player or he's the best player. There's almost no in between. So what do the Wizards, and when you see Ben Simmons, what do they think about Ben?
6'10", can defend any position on the court and still run like a deer and start a fast break. That's a problem. Of course, 6 points is a little suspect. However, clearly, Doc doesn't care about that. Clearly, his teammates don't care about that. 15 rebounds and 15 assists is enough. Maybe, earlier in the season, the Wizards broadcaster got a little flack for calling him the most overrated player in the league. And in a sense, a lot of NBA observers, they should understand where he's coming from, because offensively, Ben is not going to be, that maybe he won't drop 37 like Tobias Harris, but everything else that he brings to the table, I think any NBA team would want that, right?
You would think, Candace, but I think a lot of people wonder, do other teams want this guy? Because here's the thing. It's almost like the Sixers had a roster before that was not built for him. When they added Green and Curry, right? That was like saying, Ben, this suits your skill set more. So you almost have to have the roster built for his skill set.
Right, and his skill set is passing, as he's called by Bradley Beal, being a willing defender. Brad, who is an all-star, second in the league in scoring, could not get off when Ben Simmons was guarding him. You need somebody like that if you want to win a championship. Maybe maybe you would think that would be more of a role player. However, again, just all that he brings to the table in setting up shots, that's creating offense, even though he's not putting the ball into the hole and maybe not making free throw shots, which he needs to do that.
Yeah, he does.
You can't defend that. He needs to do that, especially in the fourth quarter. But everything else, that's I don't know, defensive player of the year this year, but definitely he deserves to be in the conversation.
Candace, when you look at this Washington team, after you write the story about how lonely it was and the separation, are you surprised at how they have seemingly come together late in this year to make this run?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with getting healthy. The unquestioned leader right now is Russell Westbrook. And, of course, he joined the team right before training camp because of the blockbuster trade that sent John Wall to Houston and brought Russell here. But he started the season basically playing on one leg. Once he got healthy, once the guys came back from the COVID protocol in January, remember they had 7 guys out at one point. Things started to click, and I think what Russell, who has a long history with Scott Brooks, is pretty much the biggest reason for that.
Tonight, game number 2, right here on 97.3 ESPN. Just a little look at how the NBA life has been going. Candace Buckner from the Washington Post, kind enough to join us here on the Sports Bash Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Candace, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was great. The article was fantastic that she wrote about this lonely, taxing regular season